Hey, got that one right today with the mute off and everything, brother.
Yeah, man, we're leveling up, man. Leveling up these producer controls. I think we need to hire a
Yeah,
producer though. Like
it'd
we'll
probably
build up
be a good
that.
idea. Well,
Yeah.
we got the Sith Lord with us today, Ryan, with his. I love it. I love the new look, brother, and the whole dark cave look. I like that. That's awesome.
Ah, man, I'm loving it. Well, here's the thing, right? So yesterday, it's like with change, with everything that happens in life. So I bought a Mac. So I actually got two desks. So I got one for content creation, which is behind me, and then straight in front of me is just straight work, baby, pushing Bridger and pushing my logistics sales. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how that mindset is kind of a little bit different, right? You go from one desk to the other, and it might be a little bit much, but maybe I'll do my video next week. Tomorrow from that side. We don't know.
You don't
Nope.
know, and you know what? Here's the thing: when it comes to that, meet yourself where you're at, man. If that's what it takes to like change that mindset, then do it. I find for me, it's when I'm selling and stuff, I have to stand. So like when I'm doing
Yes.
my daily sales, I have to stand. And for the show, I typically sit. And then when I'm doing different things, so if I find anytime I'm trying to be creative, like when you sell, I stand. So when I'm creating copy or designing images or editing, I stand. When
Yeah.
I'm searching leads and everything, I sit. When I'm educating myself, I sit. So it's kind of like that different. I don't know. For me, it's like I raise the desk, I lower the desk to what to sitting or standing, and it's an instant change in mindset. So I hear you completely when you say you move from one desk, do the editing in order to cut like 100%.
It's kind of cool. You've been actually a big component, a big like advice person to be like, hey, go get that standing desk. I haven't tried that out yet. Maybe I will, but for now, I will sit my butt on this chair and do all these things. But it's kind of cool. It's just like with everybody around there, like first and foremost, as we kind of get started today, want to wish the Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago happy Independence Day. It's a big celebration for my family, so everybody out in Trinidad, everybody in Canada celebrating, eating all the doubles, all the curry chicken and all that stuff. So wanted to get that out of the way from there. And I'm excited, man. We've had some really cool episodes. Like I think I went back and I watched the Gold Glen episode when we left yesterday, and she's just a wealth of knowledge, man. And
Yeah.
you guys bounce back so good, man. She's so cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool show. Looking forward to having her on again. We should bring her on kind of all the time as a monthly guest, even because she's always got a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the times, especially with this show, especially with our audience, that CEO perspective is key, because it's not from the ground level sales. Like you and I started in sales.
Yeah.
She's been a CEO for many years, managing people, managing offices, managing life with business. And that comes it's a whole other level of training, right? And a whole other level of skill development when you get into that managerial or CEO realm. I know
Mm-hmm.
for me anyways, it's going from like high performance logistics sales, kind of a 1-2 man show, to a full-blown company with Bridger. Huge learning curve, like
Yeah.
huge learning curve. And I'm still like almost not necessarily feeling like you're drowning, but I kind of have this I'm always catching up feeling. And
Mm.
I'm curious, for any of you CEOs out there, does that feeling ever go away? Because there's always so much to learn, Ryan. And when you do a couple of years of just being on your own with your own business, and then all of a sudden it becomes a partnership, there's a lot of different rules and regulations, if you will, right? Like when you're your own kind of individual company, like you as your agent, you can make decisions on behalf of yourself all day long.
Exactly.
When you got partners, and when you're a group of people, it's like, okay, here's like kind of that big goal, and everybody's got a different idea of how to get there. And I think it drives a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. And we have to check. What I've really noticed is, you create something you think is like super cool, or writing that you really like,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody says, yeah, that really doesn't make sense. And, in your own head, it makes so much sense, right? You're like, oh, yeah, no, I know exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
how do Alex Hermosi said it best in one of his videos. He says, like, listen, if you really want to get your audience engaged, and for sales reps, that's your prospects. He said, speak at a third grade level. don't get too technical. And how many times, I mean, you and I are learning it on demos. Geez, my first demo, man, I was all about the techie and geeky, codey shit that nobody cares about. But I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you got to see this. This is so cool. And then you're like, dude, slow down. Remember that when I was like,
Yeah. I feel like I say that every day though, you know, it's just like chill out, you know, like send me like boosted up about ClickFunnels. I'm like, Dan, nobody knows who the hell or what the hell ClickFunnels is except for you in terms of like that big business. But it's really cool. It's a learning curve, right? And you know, it kind of comes back to like when we kind of used to do group projects in elementary school, high school, even at a post-secondary level. You know, there we go. See, we kind of hit it right there. And there's a myriad of options when we look at those learning experiences. So I don't know, I'm learning a lot about myself. There's so much you can never really do that, but you know, it's finding that balance too and leaning on. I'm the type of person that if I'm working on a team, I find out what their best strengths and then I just tell them go do it. You know, that's the way I kind of lead the field and stuff like that. But then you kind of realize that's not really the way. You know, you might want to be collaborating, things like that. I'm the type of person like, hey, meetings should only really be 15 minutes, you know, clear, concise, boom, what's everybody's working on, what's the next task, and let's get to it. But it's not that deep anymore. You know, you just gotta kind of learn, experience behaviors and things like that. And it's really cool. I'm having such a blast with it. No negative things about it. And like I said, I'm learning so much about myself. That is pretty cool.
You know, I love that, Ryan. And today I woke up and and all of us, it's like, I don't know about you, but it's like all of a sudden it's Thursday. And I'm like, holy crap. What did I do to move the needle this week? I know I've been busy. I know I'm getting a lot of things done. I know I've had some pretty productive days. But I woke up this morning and I said, like, how did the needle really move this week? And I think it's a question we should really ask ourselves more often, right? Like, especially in sales. And in essence, as much as we're running a company, we're in sales, brother, right? Like, and
Yeah.
you know, asking yourself that, like, what did I do this week to really take that needle and like really push it forward? And the actions that I took this week, how I went about it, the time consumption that it took, how did it move the needle? And I think it's something I'm going to start reflecting about on like Friday afternoons, and really taking that, okay, what did I do that moved the needle and what did I not do? And starting to refine to move that needle faster, if that makes sense. And, you know, what is it that really moves the needle? Is it this post? Is it this posting? Is it this website? Is it this giveaway? Is it like what is it that really makes things happen? And you know, I started thinking about that this morning, and I wish I thought about it a little longer because I'd love to share. Maybe I'll share tomorrow when we get into chapter 5. But
well, this is the right time because like I'm doing that for reflection. You still got to remember today's the 31st, right? So people who believe in like first of the month or like first of the quarter, like this is for me, like full transparency. Today's gonna be a reflection day, to kind of look at what I want. Like I said, I've already been planning what I want Christmas to look like, but now I'm like thinking, okay, what do I want like Valentine's to look like? What do I want like next year to really look like in terms of vacations and different things like that, and like the business itself, the growth of it. So you know, it's perfectly fine to take those days. And like I said this not a million times, but I've said this before, like you're allowed to take one day off, you know, to kind of do that, but just never take two. You know, like if you take one day off from the gym, you know, don't take two, you know, and just get back on the horse and things like that. So I think reflection, I got this, like I'm a big fan of this. It's called a time blocking planner. I got it from Amazon and it's just been a great help. So I do it every single day. And then I kind of reflect every like Sunday, kind of go back and see if it's aligned with the things that I said I was going to do. And, you know, I like just be kind to yourself, man, because at the end of the day, like, you only have so much hours in a day. And like I said yesterday on the episode with Nicole Glenn, I saw a TikTok with this gentleman says like the average person only really has like 5 productive hours a day, right? Like truly 5 productive hours. And those who say like everybody's going to be a little bit different, but if the average person has 5 hours a day, you know, like realistically, maybe other people are getting 3, maybe 2, things like that. They say they're going to put in work, but you know, you got to kind of like figure out what works for you and what kind of like when you're talking about posts and things like that, I feel like it kind of comes back to like controlling the controllables because you're like, okay, well, I didn't like, so like when we had Greg, was it Greg, I believe the video content creator a couple weeks ago, Greg or Chris, I forget his name. Chris. And he said that, you know, sometimes like your copy's content goes viral, or sometimes the time that you put into this, like you put your blood, sweat, and tears, you did this transition on the edit, you added like these fancy things, and it just bombs, right? So I think what the important thing is just to keep going and not kind of stopping or kind of like reflect on, you know, I should have done this. Like you want to get into that shoulda. And that's actually cool because it actually kind of relates into the video that I'm kind of getting into today. But, you know, man, just like I said, man, just take today off. I'm taking today off personally. Like I got my demo and stuff like that, but taking it off to really reflect on what I really want these next 4 months to really, really look like. And let's make it happen.
Sounds good. You know, that's a great transition into this.
If so, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page by going to YouTube and clicking on Sales Chatter Live. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification where you'll get the exclusive notifications every time we go live and upload new podcasts. Now let's continue with this episode.
Starting to miss that background now, brother. Like,
yeah,
I'm like,
it was a good. I mean, you know what? It's just a matter of you look like, you know, you're a Sith Lord instead of Ryan. That's all.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be playing video games. You know, hop on my Twitch. You know, we're gonna be video gaming for 6-7 hours. That's what the kids say. What are they playing these days? Minecraft or something? We'll be.
I don't even know. I think there's this other one where. And maybe it's old. Never mind. I'm not even going to say it because people are going to trash me. But why don't we get to your video, brother? Because it was a great segue before that.
Let's do it.
The simplest way to start to develop a growth mindset comes down to a 3-letter word, yet. I can't do this yet. I can't get this to work yet. I can't learn how to code yet. I can't lead this team through change yet. Adding this 3-letter word to the end of any limiting or negative thought changes your outlook and opens you up to future possibility. As Carol Dweck outlines in her research and her book Mindset, those who achieve success believe in their most basic abilities. And our choice of words and how we talk to ourselves and others influences how we view ourselves and our capability. So if you notice yourself sharing a limiting statement, add the yet to the end to remind yourself that you are capable of learning and improving.
Not a millionaire yet. There we go, baby. There we go.
I like that, actually. That's really cool. I have to write that down. That is actually a really good one, brother. Actually,
Yeah.
as if you haven't had great ones.
Oh, well, you know, that's what we do. You know, we go for the home runs on these Thursday episodes. But just reflecting on that myself, I was just kind of thinking, you know, like, that's what I'm doing in my reflection today. And everybody who's out there, you know, take some time today, take some time the weekend, whatever you want to do. We got Labor Day coming up on Monday, but reflect on where you really want to be and understand that just be kind to yourself. I think the 2 takeaways was be kind to yourself and just understand it's yet, you know, it's coming to you. You know, don't block your blessings, accept them. You know, it's not your time yet, because like, hey, if it was your time right now, then you wouldn't be in the place that you are right now. So where everybody, you know, I'm not a good video content creator yet. I'm a good co-host though. So what's the word after? You know, so we're kind of going from there. But you know, we've got some really cool things. What are your thoughts, Dan? Oh,
so it's pretty cool. First thing is, like, you know, I kind of go through my agenda, right? So I had 2 days left in the week, and I ran out of room in this agenda. So what I started to do, Ryan, is I flipped backwards trying to find 2 open pages, maybe on days where I didn't write anything down. And you'll never believe what I came across. So I came across my agenda for 8/23 last year. Okay. And it has 10:30 until 2 p.m. radiation. And that's the only thing in my agenda, right?
What?
And yeah. So it just goes to show you how long I was out of it without using an agenda, right? And so it's interesting because I used the next page, which is today. And the first thing I say in my today's message to myself, lead with what you believe and the rest will work out. Be bold. So, right. And I didn't know about your video. And so I'm looking at this, and in one word, describe the kind of person you want to be today. Then that word is why I choose it. And I said motivated in changing my future. Because when I looked at 8/23, literally like what are we, the 31st? So like literally a year and 4 days ago or 7 days ago, I was in radiation, barely able to talk, barely able to walk, in bed, sleeping all the time. So it was like this, wow. And now you come with this video of yet, right? And it's just, yeah.
No crying, brother. No crying, man. You're good.
No,
man.
and you know what?
Yeah.
It's funny because I ask, if I was a high performance coach looking at my life from a high level, I tell myself to remember that as much as it's frustrating, you are exactly where you need to be right now. And so I know I'm writing all of this down today, and you come out with that video. That
No
is
coincidences, baby. No coincidences. And for everybody who's watching, especially Stacy out there, what is your, maybe we'll make a post about it, but I would love to know, you know, like I'll ask you as well, Dan, what is your yet? You know, I'm not there yet. What is your, let's say 2 things, and let's get Stacy as well. Your 2 things that, your 2 statements. We'll call them statements. There we go.
I'm not 100% yet. Number 1, health, physical strength, endurance, yet. And I have not even come close to reaching my peak yet. And I think that will be an ongoing one. Like, I'll never reach it, right? I mean, you know, obviously not a multimillionaire yet. Haven't served 10,000 sales reps to generate $1 million GP yet. Right. So, I mean, I can give you 1 million of them.
Yeah, we just wanted 2, man. We just wanted 2.
Hold on, I got more.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 2 for sure. The first 2. What about you?
That's a good question. So I'm going to go with the 100% one yet, because like I'm getting my mind, my body, all that stuff ready to go into that next level. And yesterday I signed up, and I have no experience with this, but I don't know why I did this, but I got a whim. So I signed up for the Scotiabank Waterfront Marathon on October 15th. It's a 5K though, so I'm not doing a marathon. I'm not stupid enough that way. So I'll be doing a marathon on the 15th of October. So my second one's going to be like, I'm not a runner yet, but I'll be starting that bad boy today, getting training, getting that Couch to 5K. By the way, that's a great app for anybody. I did that once back in the day. Couch to 5K, great app if you want to start small and then work your way.
I didn't realize that was an app. I'm like, how are you going to do 5K on your couch? Like, I don't get that.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, it's a good app. It's a great app. Yeah, exactly. I watch people run, you know, just like, you know, and then be like, oh, calories.
Visualizing, buddy, visualizing. You know what they said about the
that
basketball team? One of them shot balls every day, and one of them just sat there and visualized the shots, and they turned out to be about 2% different in getting there. So, I mean, I don't know if that'll work for a 5K run, because you'll get like
actually
7
blocks,
brother? And you'll pull a Homer Simpson, but
my wife read a book about that. Funny enough, that it was interesting. So it was about prisoners, like obviously people who were in prison, and they did a study of them. Like they wanted to learn to play golf. It was an experiment, and they had them just practice their swing. No club, obviously, they're not going to give them golf clubs in prison, but they just practice their golf swing. And you know, they did that repetition. And when they actually went on the golf course, they actually took them out. They were actually really good golfers. You know, and it's just because of that one, like every single day, just doing that repetition. So sometimes you don't need the actual tools, man. You just need to go out and do it. You know, we don't need that headphone. Like I can't run with headphones, so I'm just gonna go run with nature. You know, got the right shoes. You know, got everything, and just go at it.
Good for you, brother. Good for you. That's awesome. I can't join you yet.
There we go. Next year, baby. There's always next year.
That's it.
2024, the comeback, baby. The comeback is
comeback. Yes, sir. What do we got? Oh, Stacy just said something. Not at desired overall health yet. Not at desired career level yet. There you go.
You'll get there.
There you go.
You'll get there.
All right. So the next one talks a little bit more about social media ads, but if you can think about it in the terms of your sales. Think about it in terms of your emails, your sales conversations, your meetings. And when you think of it in those terms, I think these pillars are going to be crucial to you, these 3 pillars. We ready?
Let's do it.
I've used the same 3-pillar framework for a very long time, and that's how I've been able to scale ads, even though I'm not the best copywriter. And it goes what, who, when. What is you've got the 4 elements of the value equation, and then you've got their counterparts. So you've got dream outcome, you've got nightmare, you've got time delay, you've got speed, you've got perceived likelihood of achievement, you've got risk, effort and sacrifice, you've got ease. And so that gives you 8 variables to talk about your product or service through. Now that's the what. Then you have the perspective from which you want to show that benefit. So it could be from the prospect, it could be from the prospect's wife, it could be from their kid's perspective, their colleague's perspective, their friend's perspective. And that gives you another huge series of lenses to look at those 8 through. If your wife is proud of you for tightening your belt 1 loop because you lost weight, it hits different than if it's your colleague or your kid. The third lens is in what time period, because you can future pace, or you can past, or you can present pain or pleasure. Put those 3 together, it gives you endless ways to describe the benefits of choosing you and the cost of staying the same, so that you can make unlimited ads and hooks that are relevant and will hit different chords with different people.
So, what do you think of that, buddy?
I love Hermosi, man. Yeah, it's he's honestly one of the greatest people out there. If anybody's watching out there, you're looking to basically do better in business, because all he does is give free business content. I love the fact the one thing that he said was like, if your wife says that, you lost a little bit of weight, it sounds different from like your friend or like your kid or something like that. And I think about that a lot, because I think one of the biggest things that we don't do as humans is that we don't accept compliments that well. We kind of deflect them. And I think that's a little bit of human psychology or human nature, where, hey, Dan, you're looking good today. No, I'm not. I woke up so late. Don't you see this hair? Or, it's like, Ryan, hey, your beard's looking good today. Oh, no, I got all these grays and stragglies. And then when a stranger, I find like I take better compliments from strangers, right? I just kind of don't downplay it. So it's just like, for me, it's pretty cool. I love this. I think this framework is awesome. I'm going to watch this a couple more times and kind of reflect on, okay, how can I do this in my own business? What about yourself, brother?
Yeah, it's, it's a lot to consume in like 56 seconds, right? But for me, it's, when I watched it, I was like, this is what this week is all about, right? Like this week we talked about, engaging different departments. That was the big theme this week. And one thing besides, obviously the movie review on Monday, that was awesome. But, when we engage different departments, we're coming to these people at different levels. And if you're coming to a salesperson as if you would go to a traffic manager, you're probably not going to hit, meaning your engagement's not going to be sticky enough. Right. So it's really understanding, okay, if I'm going after a CEO, this is what they pay attention to. If I'm going after a traffic manager, this is what they pay attention to. If I'm going after a salesperson, this is what they pay attention to. If I'm going after a senior ops manager, this is what they pay attention to. If I'm trying to get in through an executive assistant, this is what they look for. Right. And I think every level that we try and, for lack of a better word, attack a company, and that really sounds bad, actually. I can't believe I said that. Pursue our next big customer. That's much better wording, isn't it? I think you have to do it differently. It's never the same approach. And for me, that was the big, yes, that's right. So, what are the lenses, the 8 lenses, both positive and pleasure and pain points for a CEO? What are the pleasure and pain points for a traffic manager? What are the pleasure and pain points for a salesperson? And I think literally, if you take a piece of paper, 3 of them, and cut them in half and write at least 4 out and just keep them, maybe this will be our next tool, maybe, and then look at it. And it's like, yeah, okay, if I'm going to call the salesperson, this is what the salesperson really cares about. And these are the pain points. This is what the traffic manager really cares about. And these are the pain points. And for me, it was like, okay, be you with what you can solve. So if these are the pain points of traffic managers I help the best, here's my solutions. No, so if that traffic manager is in that same mindset, I'm meeting them right where I need to meet them. Same thing with the salesperson, same thing with the CEO, like any level that you go to, just to do that little prep work before, I think, and I'll let you know, because I plan on doing it today and tomorrow and all of next week. So maybe next Thursday, I'll give you guys an update. But like, to me, that's going to be the intention before everything from now on is, okay, what are the 4 points and what is the pain and the pleasure, and see how it works. I honestly think, Ryan, that you would engage people at a much higher level.
I think so. I like that. I love that you're, like you said, you're doing testing, and kudos to you for saying, I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to reflect. I'm going to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
You're kind of like walking the walk, as it says for there. But, when you look at those different frameworks. And I love that this certain framework. And for everybody who's watching out there, just understand that, you know, it could be one framework, it could be a different one, whatever like really connects to you and you feel like it works. But when you're talking to your shipping managers, I you brought up a great point with that video because I didn't think about that. You know, I started thinking about, okay, like myself or like our business, things like that. So I'm going to do that with like the logistics managers. Like, you know, like what is the, okay. So look, let's give an example. When you ask a customer, okay, if the truck is late 10 minutes, you know, what's the good thing? Oh, they don't really care because they're backed up, or like, you know, we get fined. You know, you're looking at two ends of the spectrum, and then you kind of find in the middle, okay, what's really the actual answer or what they actually really need? Because, you know, you're able to kind of work on those and then actually, okay, well, hey, if I tell a logistics manager that his shipment is late, he might not care, but his load planners might care, right? The ones who actually like deliver out the freight. So when you're working with the different departments and things like that, I think this is a great framework to do because like your sense of urgency, and I think that's what it is. Your scale of urgency is different from each person to department, even internal with your own company as well.
Exactly. Like okay, can we play with this for the next 3 minutes before we close? Okay, so
of course,
you know, one of the first things that kind of came to mind was, okay, logistics managers, right? Like the ideal target market for a logistics salesperson. I started thinking about what have the last 36 months shown them, right? Now, shown them the roller coaster. So I could use that as a pleasure and a pain point, right? I've been able to maintain good margins for my customers through the high periods. And when it came into the low period, we've adjusted accordingly. One of their pains converted into a pleasure. So Mr. or Mrs. Traffic Manager, if you're dealing with prices going up 1 month and down the next, I might have a solution for you. If they've been dealing with that, you're meeting them where they are, right? As one of the things you solve, right? You know, second being, you could talk about when times are tough, capacity. Is that something that you were able to solve for your customers during the peak of when it was like 5-to-1, 5 loads to every 1 truck? Where, you know, so some of these things I start thinking through, Ryan, and I go, okay, I was able to do that. I was able to do that. I was able to do that. So I'm going to lead with that because who are my ideal customers? The ones that appreciate those things I can bring to the table. CEOs. What's the number one thing about a CEO is how can I make this company be profitable? So if I was going after a CEO about logistics, I would talk about the increased prices over, and again, it's the same thing, worded differently. You know, how do I flatline so you don't have these major bubbles? I do it because, you know, I have X amount of trucks in this area with X amount of customers and we're always filling. So I'm kind of, you know, you're creating that. That's what a CEO would pay attention to because they've seen how margins not only erode, but fall off the end of a bloody cliff when trucks are unavailable and you have to pay 2, 3, 4 times the amount for a truck, right? Yeah. Operations manager. Maybe it's time. Instead of, you know, I take all of that heavy lifting off because I have the ideal relationships that you need to give you back time to manage your team effectively, like a warehouse manager, right? So now their team's not spending hours looking for trucks. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different level at each person we're going to contact. Salesperson, what would be the first thing if you were going to call a company and get in with the salesperson? What would you talk about first?
That's a great question.
Right. So something that I would kind of just off the top of my head is I would say, does increased freight costs chew into your commission? Does using a kind of like non-dedicated partner and not obviously in this wording, impact your overall bonuses because of late or detention charges or fees? How many times has a supplier messed up and you've taken the heat for it, right? These are some things that salespeople go through that are different from traffic managers, that are different from dock workers or different from warehouse managers, right? Like most warehouse managers don't necessarily get a bonus if they don't spend money on detention. But, usually the traffic managers or the head of logistics or somebody like based on performance, they're usually in line for a bonus because they're management, right? So it's like those types of things. And salespeople, it's these customers is a direct impact in their wallet. So maybe that's more of the conversation, not necessarily cost savings for like that you would talk about to a CEO about, but like the impact in your wallet, your financials at the end of the year for your family are impacted when your logistics is not in line and not a fine-tuned machine. Maybe. I mean, again, just kind of
It could be different for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
what
right
are
off
their
the top of my
priorities?
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's you got to have it open ended. You can't just ask these like yes or no questions, because then you kind of give them a way out as well to not truly like dig deep, right? So have these open questions and be, like we said, be more than an order taker. Don't be somebody who just comes on and wants to just get transactional freight, as you're kind of being like, hey, I really want to be. Even if you want to make $1 million, when we're talking about those videos, it's like, hey, I want to be there, but I'm not there yet. And the question too, like I want to go back to that as well, is like, even if you come up with like, hey, I'm not a millionaire, or I'm not a high logistics performer, or like I'm not a VP of sales or anything like that yet.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, it's not like you can just like manifest it or affirmations or things like that. You actually got to like make a task plan to do with that, like, and what are the daily activities, what are the monthly activities, what are the yearly activities, that are going to get you there, so that, you kind of take off the word yet at the end of it. I am a VP of sales. I am a millionaire. I'm different things like that. So I love the framework.
Really move the needle.
Yeah. Needle, whatever you want to call it, whatever is going to, increase your status, move the needle, move forward, push forward, score a touchdown, like Al Pacino says in Any Given Sunday, that 1 inch, you got to fight for that inch, we'll give everything. We'll die for that 1 inch, because that's the difference between winning and losing. Right. So it's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's interesting because you talk about status. Everything we do comes down to status. Everything we purchase and everything. And I remember Alex just talked about it in $100 million offers, where he said, he was talking to Russell Brunson and asked his wife, like, why wouldn't you buy a Ferrari?
Yeah.
And she says, oh, I wouldn't buy a Ferrari. I like my minivan. And when they really dug down into it, she didn't want to drive a Ferrari because of the status it would look like to her parent friends, who would think she's not really a good mom because she's driving a Ferrari and can't get her kids around in the car. Right? Like it's interesting when you start really being honest with yourself and drilling down what the internal intrinsic motivation is behind something.
Well, I want to share something quick, and like this is full transparency. So my wife got she got a certain handbag that's you would say defined with status and things like that. And I remember that like guilt that she had as she ordered it, like, am I doing too much, or doing like, do I deserve this and things like that? And, like we worked it out together. Like, and it's like, you deserve this. You work hard. Who cares what anybody sells? She's like, and then I would make jokes. I was like, are you going to take it to Walmart with you? He's like, yeah, like, are you going to take it? Like, are you going to take it like to our church and our temple and stuff like that? But it's just really important to understand that we only really get one. Like, I'm Hindu, but we believe in reincarnation. But I don't remember my previous lives, and we don't know what's real or what's not, right? But I do remember this life. So at the end of the day, with this one life that we have right now that we do remember, enjoy it, and help people, share the different things with different people, and you'll get exactly what you want, because like that status, like it is okay to drive that Porsche, it is okay to, indulge yourself in organic food and things like that, because at the end of the day, one thing that I keep seeing, Dan, and it's come from 3 different influencers. It's the same message, but it's in different words. And I think that leaves an impact on me. And what it says is that, don't take advice from people who don't live the life that you want, or anything like that. And I think that's, I just resonate with that so much. But
you wouldn't go to a dentist that had one tooth and lost the rest because he didn't brush.
Well, like I said, my first story that I went to the gym, the guy was fat, and I didn't sign up for personal training. It's just a fact, you just have to, and I know, like, I'm battling with that statement, because I can see how ego can kind of get into there. And shout out to Damon, who's one of our good friends, and definitely helping with that. But I can see that, but like, I see the truth of it too. Right. Because like, why would I want to take advice with somebody who, like, it's like taking marriage advice or dating advice from somebody who's single. Like, it's just, yes, they could have been in previous relationships and things like that, but what are they really going to tell me? Maybe they'll give me some advice and things like that, but it's not the stuff that I need to make like my foundation of learning, if that makes sense.
Yes. So here's one thing, and I'm going to share something with you and tell me if this would make a difference. You know, the gentleman that was overweight, that was trying to teach you, you know, be your personal trainer. I used to be 300 plus pounds. Now I'm 205. In the last 14 months, I've lost 105 pounds doing the exact thing I'm going to show you how to get in shape with.
I'm in.
Right? Exactly.
I'm in.
You know, person giving advice. Hey, listen, FYI, like this one didn't work out. This one didn't work out. This one didn't work out because of these things. Just pay attention to it. A new salesperson in the industry. Hey, I'm new. I might say things that are wrong. I might do things that are wrong, but I tell you one thing, I'm in it for you. I'm in it for your goals. Hey, this is a new system. There's going to be glitches. Things are going to happen. But you know what? The more people that are in it, the more people make it better. Like, I think lead with that. And when you lead with that, that would have changed your opinion right away. Instead of like, I'm not going to say pretending, but not addressing the obvious, right? You think of personal training, the first thing you think of is a very fit individual, man or woman, doesn't matter. You just think of somebody that's fit. Hey, I know I'm not the quintessential, the image you have in your head about a fitness trainer. However, if you would have seen me a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's all about
what's your context? It's context. It really is. It's giving that context, right? It's giving that. It's that amazing context of like saying that. So like, yeah, with everybody out there, if somebody's like that, you know, like, hey, I work from home all the time. Like, it's funny, like that marketer that I talked to like a couple of weeks ago, he was the same way too. He's like, look, man, I've made so much money right now, but all I want to do is live a simple life. You know, like I don't want to travel. I'm 70 years old. I don't want to go to Greece. I don't want to go to Paris. I don't want to do these things because I did in my past. And then when you look at that conversation, it's like, oh, okay, that guy's been to the mountaintop before. You know, he knows how to get there. It's just that he has a different life now. So I'm not judging. Well, I don't judge anybody, but I'm not going to have my experience of him based on right now. It's going to be based on what he's telling me. And I'm like, okay, this is the reason why this guy got to this level. And he's been really, really amazing. So I think with everything, just take context with it. And like we said, you don't have to apologize for yourself. If you don't want to take information or you don't want, it's always up to you. You're the pilot, my man. There we go.
CEO of your own life, brother.
There we go.